Boom, 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 boom. Here comes the 49ers with Grant Cohn and Coach Noah Johnston. They talk about all kind of stuff. They're edgy, but they don't push the envelope too far. That's our show. Welcome. Exactly. Today, DeMeco Ryans episode. We're going to talk about everything we know and we think we've learned about him, because he is basically the most important new guy on the team this year. And he's not a new guy, but he's been promoted. And the question is he ready? Is he good? So before we get into the good and the not so good of DeMeco Ryans, let's talk about how he may change his defense. He alluded to the fact that he's going to change it in certain ways in his press conference, which is his first press conference as defensive coordinator. When you listen to that, where do you think this defense is going to go in this season?
I could see him adding more onto what Salah was doing a little bit last year, which is change what he does with the secondary, playing more man, playing more press man, and being more aggressive. Maybe being more aggressive with his blitzes. The thing about it, it's when you have coaches, right? They typically, if a guy's a position coach, he typically tends to protect that position in his scheme. Like if you're a defensive line coach, he gets promoted to defensive coordinator, he's going to end up protecting the defensive line in the scheme. He's going to do things to keep them exposed. Conversely, if you're a secondary player, a secondary coach, you're going to see probably less blitzes at a secondary background, because he's going to try to protect his guys. That's what really happens. With linebackers, you might see them be more aggressive, and the linebackers do more things. But you're coming from a guy with a linebacker background to a linebacker background, so true. I don't expect too much changes there. But it does seem to be. I mean, judging by what some of the players said in the interviews, and also I think you can take a little stock of how they've addressed the secondary in the draft and free agency. Right, like we're out there saying, hey, they need to take a big corner. They need to take a big corner. Well, they kind of just took, small guys that can move.
Yeah, and it seemed like kind of in like the Jason Verrett mold, right? Now, no one is as good as him, but he had so much success playing a specific way. It was interesting. Verrett talked, and what he singled out in particular was the press technique of Deommodore Lenoir, and made me think, like, I don't really remember Richard Sherman, Emmanuel Mosley, and Keller Witherspoon really pressing much for Robert Saleh. They'd line up in a press technique sometimes, but they would be like mirroring the receiver. So if they're going to be pressing more, that's a change. And what does that indicate in terms of bigger philosophical changes?
Usually it usually is with some sort of blitzing package, but it also can be. But it also says you want to take away the immediate throws, and you're willing to put your guys, expose your DB a little bit out there, and not give them the cushion like Sherman.
Which I like, because Robert Saleh was much more of keep it in front of you, don't give up explosive plays, and it annoys me when you just give up 8-yard catches all day. It's like, would you please take that away? And I like when you deny take away the slant, take away the quick throws, make the guy throw a low percentage throw down the field with pressure in his face. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because my first year as a DC, I came from the guy that was before me was a big zone guy.
Yeah,
I did when I came in, my guys were in your face, played 90% man. Because I am in agreement. I don't like giving up easy access throws.
Right.
I'd rather guy hold on to the ball and have
annoying. Yeah.
have to check
it's annoying. Yeah. It's too easy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could definitely see them. That's where they're going. It's interesting that you brought that up, though. Just on the side note with what Verrett said, because they asked him about Lenoir, right? And then they asked him about Ambry Thomas, and he was like, Ambry's all right.
Yeah. It was clear, right? He was much more enthusiastic about Lenoir.
Yeah, and I don't know. I was kind of reading into that. Is that maybe is Ambry showing that he's not that good, or maybe Ambry is good and probably and he wants to he was like, slowly roll, Rook.
Yeah, maybe he just likes Lenoir better. Maybe Lenoir kisses his butt and Ambry doesn't. Who knows? There could be a million things at play. But when we scouted them, I felt like Ambry Thomas is more of a mirror player than a press player. And Lenore, we've seen him get physical at the line of scrimmage, so maybe that's what Verrett's talking about.
Yeah, the problem with Lenore, is if you guys watch the video, is if he gets beat off, if he doesn't get that good press, yeah.
And he's going to be so much smaller than a lot of the wide receivers he's trying to press in the NFL.
Yeah. Now, getting back to, I mean, if he had to play, getting back to what he could do is you could play like a mixed coverage. You could play cover 2 on one side and let Lenore press, and then you give him help. You have a cover 2 safety over the top with Tart or Jimmy Ward. Both those guys are versatile enough to do that. So those are kind of things you can do if he has to play.
So Ryan said he's going to attack more. That's always what coaches say. They never be like, we're going to be more passive.
Yeah.
We're going to hang back and let the offense dictate to us. So they always say we're going to attack more. But the thing with more press coverage, it could indicate that they're going to continue manufacturing pass rushes as opposed to just depending on the front four.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say that there's going to be huge schematic change. I think the one thing that people have been ignoring here is who's the guy that's the head coach, and we've seen who makes the final call on things. It's Kyle. Like they've asked Kyle. They've asked Salah last year about who's going to start at corner, and he's like, I don't know. Ask Kyle. Ask Kyle.
Yeah, and you ask Kyle sometimes in training camp, like, are you going to have a say on who's the starting cornerback? And he's like, yeah, I'm the head coach. It's not like he's delegating defense entirely. Like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. You make the call. No.
Yeah. And I think if I remember right, when asking about his switch to the wide 9, Ali even brought up like, well, Kyle and I looked at such for it. So he's not going to change anything without the approval of Kyle Shanahan. And Kyle even said from the get go when he brought Sal on, he wanted someone to run that 4-3 Seattle scheme. So he knows what he wants, and he knows what he wants in his defense. So if Kyle is big on 4-man pressure, and DeMeco, I don't foresee DeMeco all of a sudden playing zero coverage all the time.
True. Brian says, funny people say no rook quarterback has won a Super Bowl, but it is different here for Lance. Actually, Super Bowl roster around him. Yeah. Well,
maybe. It's still a lot. Like I think if it could possibly be, I think you need a couple things to happen. I think I think you're going to need a jump from you need Kinlaw to make a jump, which I think he will, honestly. You need Ayuk to make the jump that we think that he's going to. I think he will if he's healthy, but you report he was out the last practice, right?
Yeah.
And then I think you're going to need probably maybe 2 of these rookies to step up and be good players, whether it's Ambry Thomas or Lance steps up or Lance comes out, or it's a tough division and it's it's a tough in the NFC is tough, so it'll be hard for them to be Super Bowl. I think they'll compete in games.
Yeah,
I'm not going to roll up and put
the Super Bowl expectation should be more next year.
Yeah,
it should be really next year. They should be building up to that.